Hey, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do the palette tag round 2. So I've seen several YouTubers that I really like following do this. Seen Samantha March, who started it, Heather Austin. I actually just watched her video, which was who inspired me to do the video myself. The questions you'll find down in the description bar below if you're interested in doing this tag yourself. If you do, please let me know because I would love to check it out. But let's get started. So some of these were like so hard to pick a palette. I was like, I really like this palette, but like trying to decide because I didn't want to have one palette for more than one answer. So my goal was to have a different palette for every question. Some of them may be retired. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know of at least one, if not two that are retired, possibly more than that. But I mean, like, these are my favorite palettes from my collection. The first question is your all-time favorite, and this is a palette that when I am going out and I want to look, I always seem to grab this palette, and that's why I picked it as my all-time favorite, and that is the ColourPop Wine and Only palette. And I mean, you can see I have used this center color so much, and I mean, I just absolutely love this palette. I know it's one that a lot of people just kind of struggle with as far as liking, because a lot of people don't like the deep reds, but I absolutely love the deep reds, and I think they look just great on my skin. So I'm not going to swatch the whole palette, but I will swatch just a few of them, a couple of the shimmers and a couple of the mattes that are my absolute favorite, so then you can see them. And see, those are some of just like my absolute favorite colors that I always use from this palette. If something happened to this palette, I would definitely replace it. Like, it's not a palette that I can not have in my collection, or I would have to find another ColourPop palette that was close, because I use it so often. I actually ordered a different ColourPop palette that's one of the newer releases because it kind of matched this palette, and I love this palette so much. My next is the new favorite. And this isn't only my new like favorite palette, but it's also my new favorite brand. And when I did this eye look today, I actually was trying to only use the palette that most of these colors came from, and I just at the end wasn't blown away with it, and I had to use this one. So like pretty much every eye look I'm grabbing this palette, and that is the Adept Cosmetics Plain Jane palette. And I'm not going to swatch it right now, but I will put my swatches up so that you can see it. I mean, and I just absolutely love these colors. I mean, it's a great palette to use with everything, and I'm just always grabbing that palette to add to my eye look and just enhancing it, because I feel like with this one, it really just makes the green shimmers just really pop. And I only use one palette, so like that is my favorite palette, or my current new favorite. I haven't had it long enough to say like it's my all-time favorite, but I have a feeling that Adept Cosmetics is going to be my all-time favorite brand. Now the next question is keep for the memory. And I hate to even try to pronounce her name. It is Too Faced Mariale, and I used this palette so much when I first got it. You know, it kind of has that same color scheme as the Wine and Only palette, and it's probably goes to show that's probably one of my favorite color schemes. I don't reach for this palette anymore, but this palette was one that when I first really got into makeup that I used. Now, I haven't like shared my story yet with using makeup and like how it was so much later in life before I started using makeup, but I've learned that just it brings me so much joy, so I'll end up sharing that story later on. But these are just a few of my favorite colors from this palette. My arm can't twist the way it needs to be. So that is I don't use it anymore, but I keep it for the memories. I mean, it's not really dry. Like, I could definitely reach and use it. I think forget about it a lot of times, but it definitely won't be going anywhere. Okay, so the next question is underrated palette, and this is a palette I chose that I know it had a pretty high price tag on it, but when it came out, I absolutely had to have it. Don't see many people talking about it, and that's the Danessa Myricks Lightworks Volume 2, and I love this palette. You know, I don't use it as just a single palette. I usually use it as a companion palette like my Plain Jane palette. Lately, these have been my go-to face highlight, and when I got this palette, it actually came with another little palette that had these 4 face highlights in a separate palette. So I haven't even opened it, but I use these and I'm like, this shadow right here, if I could get it as a single by itself, I would, because I probably used this for my inner corner highlight every day for like 2 weeks when I first got this palette, because it was just my favorite. Like, oh my goodness, it's so pretty. Almost to the point of like, let me grab something. Just let me show you what I'm talking about. This color polarized, it really make any shadow pop. So like, see what I'm talking about? How adding that polarized, how much different it makes it. Now I gotta add it to the other one but I mean, like, that color, it enhances any color. And I will put my swatches up on, actually I guess I need it over here so that you can see them, but I just don't see anybody talking about this palette, and I absolutely love it. It has so many beautiful duochromes and multi-chromes in it, and more people need to try it out because I love it. Now the next one is not a favorite but can't get rid of it. Every time I start thinking about palettes that I know I'm never gonna use, I need to get rid of. I mean, even from looking at this palette, you can tell that it's one that I didn't use very often, but it is the ColourPop Candy Castle palette. I think I can't get rid of it because of like just the collector in me, like, you know. Ooh, one of my shadows fell out. You can't get this palette anymore. You can tell that the shadow that fell out was like the one that I used the most, and I did use that shadow as an inner corner highlight, but these pastels just, they did not do anything at all for my skin. You couldn't see them. Even when I used the e.l.f. white eyeshadow primer, I still couldn't see them, but I can't get rid of this palette and I don't know why. Now the next is your favorite collab. I had to think really hard about this one because there were several that I really liked, and then there's a new collab that's coming out. I'm waiting on it to arrive. It has shipped, but because I'm so new and don't get PR yet, that I haven't received it, and everybody that I've seen use this video or do this palette tag, I've seen this video a lot. So I know if I was to do this again in like a month that I probably would have a different one, but I don't know. It's Oden's Eye and Tina the Fancy Face, the Hummingbird palette, and I love these bold colors, the shifts and the shades. They're so pretty. I just think they're so gorgeous. I absolutely love this pink and this purple. Pink and purple eyeshadow are like my thing. So I'll put my swatches up here so that you can see them instead of just swatching a couple right now. We'll just do the full swatch. So, I mean, it is my favorite collab, and congratulations, Tina, for it selling out and being such a big hit. I got 2 of those 3 and I so regret not getting this. Okay, this is your 2021 favorite palette, and this one was one that I couldn't decide between this one and ColourPop's Wine and Only. Like, I almost put ColourPop's Wine and Only because I used it so much last year, but this is another palette that I used just as much as the Wine and Only palette, but if I lost it, I wouldn't replace it. And that is the ColourPop I can't even pronounce it. Muah. I know it's French, and it came out with their Christmas launch a couple years ago, and I know a lot of people won't like it because it has the pressed glitters in it. I personally love pressed glitters. This is my color story just from grabbing, like, if I want to match my clothes, I generally have on rose gold. So I used this palette so much in 2021 that I felt like it just kind of had to be my favorite palette. Just to show you some of my favorite colors from this palette, like, these are some of the shades that I use the most. And again, with this matte, like it just goes back to that wine and only. Like that deep burgundy is like one of my favorite color stories that I use a lot. And I love this color story. I kind of want the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz, and I kind of want the Natasha Denona Retro palette because of how much I love this color story. But because I have so much makeup and I'm trying to like use some of the makeup I have instead of just buying, I haven't bought either one of those palettes. But those are definitely palettes that are on my wish list because of the color story that I would wear so often. The next one is one that you didn't expect to love, and I had another palette from this brand that I decluttered because I did not like it and I didn't use it. I used it once. I got it in a BoxyCharm box and I absolutely hated it, and I know that is something that like most people don't agree with, but I got this palette after hearing several other YouTubers talk about it a lot. I got it on sale. It was like 50% off, but that's the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde, and this palette is so pretty. I had not liked the other things, and I haven't actually used it. Whoop. Trying to show it to you without showing the mirror. Ignore the mess. So I haven't used it a whole lot, but I think I've used it like 2 or 3 times, but I just really didn't expect to like it because I haven't liked palettes from this brand. And I'm not gonna swatch any of the Huda Beauty just because I know so many people have seen it and all of that. Now the next one is palette that sparks joy. I love colorful eyeshadow, and when I saw this palette I knew I absolutely had to have it, and it sparked joy before it even arrived, and that is Blend Buddy Blends palette. This is their matte rainbow palette. Don't use this palette alone, and I actually just finished doing my review on it, so you can see that up here. But I just love the colors. I love the color story. It is so pretty. I will include my swatches right here instead of swatching it again. But I love the colors. I love the color story. Whenever I look at it, there's so many different things that I see that I can do, and I start pulling out like my Adept palettes to pair with it. This palette and Adept Plain Jane put together is like so much just joy and just happiness when it comes in makeup. So the newest palette in your collection, and I actually haven't even used these palettes yet. I opened them this week, and that is BeBella Cosmetics Sweetest Valentine. I actually got 2. Sweetest Valentine and Life in Pastels. I haven't used them. I actually just opened them yesterday. I cannot wait to use it. I think this is such a pretty color story. They had a really good sale, so I got this palette, their blush palette, and because I will not pay for shipping, added the pastel palette just to get it over to having enough for free shipping. And I know it has pressed glitters, but I don't mind pressed glitters. I do enjoy them. I do like the shimmer and the shine and the glitter, so I'm okay with that. But I do plan on using those palettes soon and sharing them, so be sure to check back and look for a review on those palettes. The last question is the first palette used in 2022, and I had to go back and look through my camera roll and find a picture, and I actually have only used this palette once, and it was that time, and that was the Klarity Kosmetics So Mesmerizing. I actually plan on using this palette again. I think it is so pretty. Like, I absolutely love the colors in it. I used the pink and this pink. Yeah, that one, I'm not gonna swatch it right now. I will do, once I'm gonna use this some more, and then I'll have a review up on it. But I just think these colors are so pretty. I really liked how this pastel pink popped on my skin. It looked so good. I'll put a picture up here of me wearing it so then you can see what I'm talking about with these colors and how they look. Can't wait to wear this palette again. But I have so many eyeshadow palettes. I really need to go on an eyeshadow palette no-buy. The problem is then I would come off the no-buy and I would buy like crazy, because I have several orders that I'm waiting on to come in right now, which is why I decided I just needed to start a channel. But I hope you enjoyed this video and this tag. If you do this, please comment below with your video because I would love to check it out. If you're not already a subscriber, I hope you'll hit that little subscribe button, hit the like button so if you liked this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye guys.